Hey guys, this is Dan Strong with Excel VBA. It's fun. We're back at you with another quick tip. Thanks for joining us. Today we had a question come in from someone named Bharat, and he said that he is having trouble holding his pen or using a mouse. His hands shake a lot, and so the trouble that he has is he'd like to be able to hit the up or down arrow keys on the keyboard instead of clicking the spin button. So we're going to work on a new user form where we can use the up and down arrow keys. So let's hit Alt F11 and let's clear out some of this stuff here in the Visual Basic Editor so we can just have code. I'm going to hit F4. The F4 button will get me my properties window back. I'm used to just seeing the Project Explorer and the properties window. So I'm a little spoiled in that way. But now that we're in the Visual Basic Editor, we're going to go ahead and click on this drop down here to create a user form. And the user form is where we're going to keep we're going to make a text box. And we might as well throw a label on there. We're going to say date, and let's make it pretty, date, and we'll scooch that over here. That's fine. Just a simple text box and a label for the date. So we're going to name this in the name box TB date, and this is where the date's going to occur. Now, whenever we select or click inside this date text box, that's when it's going to be the active control. And that's when we can use the event that we're going to use in order to hit the up arrow or the down arrow to control whether the date is itself +1 or itself -1. Why don't we start the user form with the current date? Let's double click on the background here. I'm going to double click on the user form itself so that I can more easily go to the user form initialize event, and that's this drop down here. We don't necessarily need a user form click event, so I'm going to get rid of that. But here's our user form initialize. So inside the initialize, how about we make that text box equal to today's date? And so we're going to say me. And when I say me, it represents whatever container I'm writing code in. So if I was in this sheet, me would equal that sheet. If I was in this workbook, me would be the equivalent of this workbook dot. In this case, userform1 dot, or so a control within this user form. So me dot, remember we named that control TB date, that text box date. So I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to say me dot TB date equals today's date. Now, in VBA, you notice the D capitalized. That's because DATE is not just a normal variable. It already has a system value. It means that it's always going to be whatever the current date is that when you run this. So if I click the run button to run a test on our form, you notice it automatically typed in March 27th of this year. So that part's done. That was in the user form initialize. When the user form initializes or starts up, it pops in the date. So now we already have a date in here, and so we don't even have to worry about that part. What we want to do is when this control is selected, let's double click on that actual text box itself. So you see it automatically created a new event called the TB date _ change event. So whenever this is changed, we don't want that one because change involves, typing or texting, or copying and pasting or typing or backspacing or something. We're not going to change it. What we want to do is hit an arrow key. So we want to use the key down. The key down means when any key, whether that's a number or a letter or even like a backspace or in our case, the up arrow and the down arrow key is pressed down, not when it's let up, but when it's pressed down. We want to run this event. So we recently did something with a key code here. This key code is one of the parameters, and that's going to represent whatever the up arrow and the down arrow key is. Why don't we run a test? Let's run a test. I'm going to put the word stop here, and that means that it's going to stop right in the middle of the code, and we can view what the key code is. So I'm going to hit the down arrow first. So I'm going to press down, and let's hover over the word key code. So key code is 40. So let's make a little note here. Control G is my immediate window, which is also a scratch pad. I'm going to put 40. I'm going to say that's my down arrow. And I'm going to hit the down arrow. Now let's close the user form, open it back up, and let's do the key down. Or is that what I just did? Excuse me. Let's do it again. Let's hit play. Let's press the up arrow key and see what our key code is. 38. So 40 and 38. So now we know what we're going to use. So let's go ahead and make our code out. We're going to say if the key code, which is the special variable, our parameter, if that equals 38, then, and I'm going to put a comment before I go to the next line, 38 means up arrow. then let's see, me.tbdate, that's the current text box, right? Equals itself, me.tbdate, plus 1. Let's see if that works. Let's see if it recognizes that this is a date. If not, then we'll use a function called cdate to manipulate it into thinking, hey, this is a date. Okay, but we're if it's an up arrow, then we're going to add 1 day to the date. And we're going to put that into the date field itself. And we're going to say otherwise, which is called else. Any other case, we're going to say me.tbdate equals itself minus 1 day. And then we're going to say end if. And then automatically creates that space for you when you click away. So let's go back. If key code equals 38, well, it is. So let's hit F8 to go down 1. So me.tbdate equals itself plus 1. It's probably going to get confused because it's not really a date. In Excel's mind, you notice it has quotes around it. In Excel's mind, that is a string of text. Well, let's see if it can figure it out. No, it can't. So why don't we say this text box is going to contain the datified version of this string of text using the cdate function, convert to date function. We're going to convert me.tbdate, whatever's in there, to a date. And if you hover over, you notice it doesn't have quotes anymore because the cdate function is doing its thing. So this actual live date here, plus 1, and we'll plug that into there. And then we'll do the same thing upon a down arrow for the otherwise. So we don't even have to say else if key code equals 40, then do this, because we only, no, that is right. Because if they hit any other key, if they press the shift key or the arrow key or typed a letter or number, it would do the else. So we need to do else if the key code equals 40, then. Because if we just do else, that would be bad. That would be every other keystroke. So now we know if it's 38, which is the up arrow, then add a date to that. Otherwise, subtract 1 date to it. So up or down using the up or down arrows. Now we actually test it out. So let's just go 1 step at a time. F8. So it's going to be March 27th plus 1 day. And that's going to pop it into here. So let's see what that worked. It did. It triggered a change event, but because I haven't deleted that yet. But nothing happens. And then it's over. So let's go ahead and take the stop out. Oh, I can't because the user form's open. Let's take this word stop out. We don't really need to stop anymore. And let's take this change event, which is extraneous. We don't need that. And let's try it. So Userform starts up. It has today's date in it. I'm going to press the up arrow. 328. I'm going to press the down arrow. Oh, that's cool. Up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow. Oh, 4-1. Oh, that is too much fun. I'm going to hold the down arrow down. Now let's have a little bit more fun with it. I don't want to let you go just yet. Let's have a little fun. Let's do the left and the right arrows, and we'll go up or down a week by 7 days. Let's try that. Let's go ahead and try that. Let's see. So let's see what the left and right arrows are. I'm going to go ahead and say stop again just so we can play around with it. I'm going to hit the right arrow, and let's see. The key code is 39 for the right. 39, and let's run it again. Left arrow key is 37. So 37 left. Now let's do some more else ifs here. So let's just paste that. And then, oops, and then paste that. So if it is 37, which is left, I'll make a comment with the apostrophe here. And if it is 39, then that is the right arrow key. Okay, so what we want to do is instead of +1 or -1, we actually want to, if it's left, we're going to minus, I think it's either 6 or 7 days. I hate date math. I'm so sorry. We're going to, let's try adding 6. Because I always forget if you have to keep today's date in there or if you subtract all 7. But I feel like we're going to add 6. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's just play with it. So I'm going to hit, let's see. What's today's date? Today is 3/27. So up, 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 up. Okay, and then I'm going to hit the forward arrow, 4-2. If I look at my calendar here, nope, that will be next Monday. We want a week, so no, so we needed to just use 7. I apologize. Okay, so I'm going to hit the forward arrow, and that's 4-3, which is next week. If I hit the back arrow, left, 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 right, 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 and up 3 days, down 4 days. That's really cool. That's really fun. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little label over here. We're going to do an extra label, and this is going to have the actual weekday. Okay, this is going to be the weekday. So let's actually give the label a label, LBL, weekday. Okay, so every time anything happens to this date, let's go ahead and tell it that we need to revise that as well. So down here at the bottom, we're going to do, let's see, me.tbdate. We want to format that label. So let's see, me.lbl weekday equals, and what are we going to have it equal? We're going to have it equal that day? No, it's boring. How about we format it and just take what we want out of it? So let's use the format function, which is native to Visual Basic. We're going to use the format, and we're going to take, let's just be safe. Let's make sure that we use the cdate function so it knows, hey, this is a date that we're formatting, not just a string of text. Okay, and we're going to format it using, let's do, let's see, you can do MMM if you wanted to get like JAN or FEB or MAR for January, February, March. If you do another M, it would spell MARCH. But we're going to do D, so this would be 27. This would be the week, I think this would be the weekday, like MON or WED. And if you press another D, I think that would be MONDAY or spell it all the way out. So let's experiment with that. We just want the day, okay, of the datified version of this string of text. So let's see if that works. So I'm gonna hit down, Monday, up, Tuesday. Let's hit the right arrow. Still Tuesday because it's a week difference, right? Down, down, up, 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 up. Very cool. So it looks like we got that working. Again, let me just iterate. If you wanted to take one more D out, instead of spelling it out, it will just have TUE. And if you did one less D than that, it would just have the numerals. So it'd be like 03, 10, the 9th, the 8th of the month, the 7th. So we want to keep the weekday for our example. So all 4 Ds. Okay. And you could even start the user form with all that. You would just want to format whatever's in here again. So let's take this beautiful line of code here and put that in the user form initialize. So it'll take the weekday label and go ahead and format it from the get-go. So it automatically knows what weekday we have when we start. Okay, that's a few tricks on date math using a Userform TextBox, and I hope you learned a lot. If you do, please go ahead and click like on this video and click subscribe, and head over to excelvbaisfun.com if you need any more tips and tricks, or browse this channel. And we will see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching.